career in newspapers and or broadcasting, which goes back to what year? I guess 1978. I believe I've only had, well, I was going to say two. I'm going to actually amend that and say I've had three coaches give me a gift, deliver me a gift. Two of them I knew well. One of them I didn't know particularly well, but because I was in the sports writing business, I was included as one of the recipients of said gift. And in that case, the individual was Don Nelson. Don Nelson, for those unfamiliar with the name, won 5 NBA championship rings as a player with the Boston Celtics as a very good role player. He then became, as The Athletic describes him, an innovative and free-thinking Hall of Fame head coach, one of the winningest in history. He has passed on at the age of 86 years old, and apparently in Frisco, Texas, even though he's most associated the last several decades with Maui, right? He had a compound in Maui. We've talked about that over the years a great deal. He was, I believe, at an assisted living facility. His death confirmed by his granddaughter, Christy Nelson Armstrong, who said that his health had deteriorated after a stroke about 3 years ago. He never won an NBA title as a head coach, but his innovation was he seemed to be able to win a lot of different ways, successful even without winning championships, a lot of different ways, right? Playing big, playing small, early, one could say. Having Manute Bol, 7-7 Manute Bol, take three-pointers. Had a great run at Golden State with the Warriors, correct? Latrell Sprewell days, among others. And had a number of other stops. Milwaukee successful as well. I think I got my gift covering a game in Milwaukee. It could have been Dallas. I don't remember. But Nelly was infamous or famous for his fish ties. And it was a tie, that was shaped like a tie, but it had sort of a drawing of a fish on it.
Interesting. And
I don't know what the beginning of that story, what the backstory was on that. But he would occasionally just mass produce these things and then offer them to sports writers. You'd go to your assigned spot and there'd be a fish tie sitting there for you. Not a lot of guys in this business who generally, offered up those kinds of gifts to the ink-stained wretches back in the day. But beyond his innovation, beyond his success, at this point, I think of more than anything else with Don Nelson, and God, it's amazing how everything can be connected. It's a gift that, quite frankly, I wish people in authority in the WNBA would appreciate. He had the ability, even as competitive as he was, to celebrate and admire talent that he played against as much as talent that he coached. I think I was in Milwaukee. I don't know if it was Julius Erving's last game or if it was a farewell tour game. For some reason, I think I ended up there when Dr. J was wrapping it up. And what I remember was just how effusive in his, you could say, well, it's not that tough to praise Julius Erving at the end. But I always felt he had that in him, that's one of the things I loved about him, that, again, as competitive as he was, he felt like, man, all this talent's marvelous. We all win when we celebrate what these players represent. In some cases, what historic names like Julius Erving represents. He had all of that in him. Now, there is a local angle that we've talked about before on the show involving Nelly, and it was when it was in the Tim Hardaway draft. And I've told this story before.
Yes, I was going to get to this.
Nelly had a good relationship with the late, great Bill Musselman, who was, of course, the first Wolves coach, expansion coach. And the Wolves were researching, deliberating, whether they should consider Tim Hardaway in the draft, that draft. So what year would that have been? 89,
That
90?
was 89.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as the story goes, Nelly, in conversations with Muss, slyly attempted to discourage him from being interested in Hardaway, talking about bad knees, legs aren't going to hold up. Yeah, he's talented, but it's just not going to work. And the Timberwolves fell for it. That was the year we drafted. Was that Poozier?
I think it was. Yeah.
Tim Hardaway was available.
Armstrong was in that draft too, I think.
Pooh Richardson was a nice player. Great guy. But he wasn't Tim Hardaway. Pound for pound, maybe one of the toughest small players in the league history.
Killer crossover.
Oh, my God. Just a tremendous player. And that may have been Nelly at his best, in that case, hoodwinking the competition and discouraging another team from even considering investing in Tim Hardaway.
He's got bad knees.
Bad knees.
He's got bad knees. Maybe, I mean, that's part of the reason why those Maui poker games were so mythic.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's right.
why he liked poker. He just liked playing.
So true.
You think about and I was reading up about him a little bit today, because obviously I knew him, and he was an Iowa guy. You know, people forget.
That's right.
He was a good
Iowa
college
Hawkeye,
player.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he was a good player too, as you mentioned, but he's probably more well known for the coaching. I thought the Celtics made a nice post talking about, hey, don't forget this guy could play too. Like, everybody's talking about the coaching.
Yes.
Like, he was a part of those championship teams and all of that. But the Mitch Richmond, Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway trio, I'd forgotten he had kind of run the Dallas Mavericks too, and then his son Donnie would as well after he left. But he basically brokered the deals for Dirk and Steve Nash.
Very true. Good
to
point.
go into that whole thing.
Yes.
And reading about it, when they didn't re-sign Nash, that was kind of Nelly's Jerry West resignation, where he was kind of like, why aren't we gotta, if you trade Klay Thompson for Kevin Love, I'm resigning. It sounds like when they didn't re-sign Nash and he ended up going to Phoenix, the older Nelly was like, I don't know what we're doing. You know, this is stupid. And they end up winning the title a few years later, obviously, with Dirk. But he was a big part of that, wanted to pair him with Michael Finley, apparently. Like, those trios will always stick with me, those three trios that he had.
Cut twice as a player before the Celtics figured out. If you watch, even by late 60s, 70s standards, Don Nelson looks like he belongs in the NBA in the 40s.
Yes.
There's nothing graceful about anything that he does, but he was an effective role player. And then he spent 31 years, the Bucks, Golden State, Mavericks, 1,335 wins, NBA Coach of the Year 3 times, although, as we said, never winning a championship. I don't remember this story. In the Athletic obit, he also briefly coached the Knicks to 34-25 to start the 95-96 season, but was fired. He later told the New York Times when Patrick Ewing rebelled after hearing that Nelson was seeking to trade him for, wait for it, Shaquille O'Neal.
I would have made that trade.
How do you not?
I like Ewing, but I would have made that trade.
But I don't even remember that. I have no recollection of that.
So Jeff Van Gundy would have taken over then, right?
I think that's right, yeah. Born in Muskegon, Michigan. Family was a hog farmer. The farm fails. They moved to Rock Island, Illinois. He started playing basketball at the YMCA. When I first started, I was the guy who never got picked. He goes to Iowa City on a scholarship after a very good high school career. Third-team All-American, taken 17th in the 62 draft by the Chicago Zephyrs, who are now, for the record, the Washington Wizards. Then signed with the Lakers, waived a second time, first by the Zephyrs, then by the Lakers. The story goes, according to Nelly, who is a great storyteller, he's facing an uncertain future. Red Auerbach calls him. Heinsohn just retired, meaning Tommy Heinsohn. We're looking for a forward who we want to give you a tryout. He takes the next plane to Boston. He only lasts 11 seasons. Playing with Russell, Havlicek, 5 championships as well. Again, he's one of those all-time. Every league at its best has jewels like Don Nelson almost as a guardian of the game and a celebrant of all aspects of the game. Again, fiery competitiveness. It wasn't like he was going to concede anything, but he understood he was part of a larger collective. So he had great admiration for other players who he coached against or played against. And again, it's what every league should have. I'm not sure every league does have that right now. A significant loss, a hell of a run for Nelly. And he's one of those guys. The compliment ultimately to him is it's not going to matter he never won a championship. There's coaches that gets held against them. He's not one of them because I think he's viewed as being so much more. Plus, he came from having a terrific career, too. Let's get a quick pause in. Don't forget, we'll have Ben Lieber later this hour, Johnny Athletic at 5:30.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
Nelly writes, 5-on-5 guy grew pot in Hawaii. Celebs like Woody Harrelson would visit him. Yes, we've talked about Nelly's adventures in Hawaii and Maui for quite some time. Very well known. Gumbel for, what was the show on HBO? Real Sports?
Yes.
Did a whole segment.
It was a great story.
Where he hung with them. Who else was in the group?
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson, among others. Yep. A lot of celebs and some not famous, but a lot of old people playing poker at Nelly's poker table. Stories are legendary. It was a terrific, probably a piece easily found now via YouTube these days.
Including the guy that died at the table.
The guy died at the table.
They just kept playing.
They moved him over, and they said, we all had an agreement. We knew, we're getting older, so we're still here all playing. We're going to keep playing. Once they established it, there was no bringing him back. I mean, I think they tried to be fair, see if they could revive him. Yep. And then once it was clear they couldn't, they said, well, we just got to keep going.
Ante up. Owen Wilson, a good friend of his, too, is another guy.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, who lives in Maui.
Yeah.
I know they spent a lot of time together, too.
Yeah, it's it's an outstanding list. That is indeed for sure. We have, as I mentioned, about a half hour. We expect to visit our first in a while. Well, actually, I think we talked to Lieber when. Was it the draft?
Yes.
I think it was draft night.
Draft night.
Draft night,
on his way to the draft.
And then Johnny Athletic will join us at 5:30. Johnny, in fact, reminded us that Nelly became the all-time winningest coach with a victory at Target Center.
Okay.
And Johnny wrote the piece for the Associated Press off that game. That was back when he was still AP sports guy.
Simpler times.
How about that? Long time ago. Let's check out Johnny's lead. Oh, it says no story available on the link. He sent me a bad link here. Let me see if I can try it. Let me try it one more time, see if I can.
Maybe we need a subscription to the Associated Press.
You think that's what it is?
Just like we need 2 for the Athletic.
Yeah, you might be right. He texted. Let me see. Let's try it one more time.
Johnny hides behind paywalls. We know that.
Alone at the top, Nelson sets NBA's win record. Let me click on it again. Damn. No story available. Well, he'll find it for me. I want to read the Johnny lead off that game. Kyle from Isanti, how do you establish he's not coming back? LOL. A couple chest compressions. I don't know if that was worked out to that degree when the story was written. No, Willie Nelson is not related to Don Nelson, as far as I know. You think there was any? I don't think there was a
maybe like back 10 generations
relationship there.
Yeah, I don't know.
The other thing about Nelly, because Nelly in more recent years, I don't think he was as out and about as he once was. Because again, just a treasure trove of stories that he had, and I hope a lot of them will now be retold. That people who spent more time with him than I did, because I didn't ever get to know him personally all that well. But in the group, I'd be in many groups chatting with Nelly. The other two, can you guess the other two coaches in my history who have bestowed gifts upon me?
Well, Flip has to be one. Do we count Flip?
I just realized now there's three.
Yeah.
Flip is one. So there's actually four total. I'm adding another one.
Okay.
So we've got Nelly, the fish tie, not because there was any major personal relationship, but just that I was a jackal.
Can you give me a hint of what the gifts were? Not like the city the coach coached in or anything.
Well, one of the gifts, it's a little bit elusive. It's a little bit misleading. One of the gifts was a free hotel room.
Oh.
And then in the other case, it was a very mocking either hoodie or jersey from a coach I covered that you won't even remember. I don't think I've ever even told you that I covered this team or this coach.
Oh, okay, because I was going to guess like Jimmy Rogers or some Wolves coach.
No, Jimmy Rogers I don't think ever bestowed a gift upon
Dick Motta?
Dick Motta never did either.
He was just a naked shower guy, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say
he
Dick
gave
Motta.
you a free washcloth. He bestowed upon me a used washcloth.
He gave you the gift of an unbelievable story.
That's true.
I can't guess. Who are the gifts?
So
or who are the coaches?
The third coach would be Bob Knight.
Okay, I was going to guess that.
And I agonized over this because I was pretending to try to have ethics. I'm at the Indiana Daily Student, and the year Indiana, ultimately the undefeated season where they went 32-0 and won the title, the regional was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've told one of those other stories before where I almost got thrown out because of my battle with the SI Sports Information Director. Didn't like my seat. Well, the bit was he was sending his manager, Timmy Walker, who I'm in touch with from time to time, early, and he didn't want Walker to be by himself. So he said to me, look, I don't want him to be by himself. Why don't you go down early with him? And I said, well, the paper won't pay. The student paper will pay for so many nights, but they won't pay for the extra night. He said, well, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And, of course, I agonized because I'm like, well, I'm supposed to be Mr. Independent guy. Now I'm letting, am I running the risk of selling myself out? Ultimately, I talked to the publisher, and everybody kind of agreed, all right, it's not the end of the world. But that was my Bob Knight gift, was just a free hotel room. I don't remember even the hotel they were staying in.
Okay.
And the fourth one was a coach at the University of Georgia at the time. I'm covering Dominique Wilkins and University of Georgia basketball. So this would have been like 1980. The same year I covered Herschel. Wilkins was on that team.
Man, I didn't know that.
And also on that team was Steph Marbury's brother, Eric Marbury, nicknamed Skydog.
Okay.
Because of the Georgia Bulldogs, he was Skydog.
He could jump, presumably.
He could jump.
Yep.
But he also had the worst shot selection I've ever seen. There was no shot that he wouldn't take, no matter the situation. So I used to get on Hugh Durham, the coach, for what I felt like was an irresponsible misuse of timeouts to kind of, calm Skydog down. So at the end of the season, their last regular season game, afterwards, he comes into the press room with his entourage and presents me with a sweatshirt or a hoodie. I don't remember what it was. I don't have it. Dedicated to me that read, Dan Timeout Barrero, trying to chide me but have fun with it as well.
See, that's good stuff.
That is good stuff, actually.
Yes, that's the good stuff.
You can't take that personally. It's meant in good fun. He was actually a great guy to cover. Hugh Durham, who coached elsewhere, too, didn't he? I mean, he had some success. Was he at Florida State? He was someplace besides Georgia. But, yeah, Wilkins, that might have been Dominique's freshman year. I don't remember. Either freshman or junior year. Glenn Mason, I don't think he's ever bought me a gift. Now, he can say he's brought T-shirts here.
That's true.
But that really wasn't a gift. That was Mason strutting because what did it say on the shirt?
Mason your face.
Mason your face. Yeah.
It always says.
Very different. It's a very
Mason
different.
your face.
There's a difference between a gift where you feel like somebody's trying to be generous and a gift where somebody's trying to make it about themselves.
You're listening to Barrero on the
back. Ben Lieber will join next segment. We'll get an update on what did or didn't take place on Sunday night, the practice under the lights, and where the Vikings are and where they might be a month from now, because we're approaching 1 month until the start of the 2026 National Football League season. We don't have... Well, I'll go ahead and play it again. It'll be the second time this hour, but in this case, it's really not a dead guy.
And now, it's time for Ode to a Dead Guy.
If we had Big Voice Guy, it would be Ode to a Dead Vacuum Cleaner. They don't get oded very often. Perhaps they should be, especially ones that last as long as this one. Beth, this beloved vacuum was named, believed to be 49 years old when it passed on. 49-year-old vacuum cleaner finally said, "I'm tired," and that is enough. It's a Hoover. It's tan with a burgundy cloth dust bag that for years, the New York Times tells us, tended to the floors of the Iowa farmhouse of Senator Chuck Grassley, earning admirers in both parties. Cause was apparently an electrical problem. Mr. Grassley is reporting via social media. But apparently, Beth was so popular and so beloved by Mr. Grassley that he would often post images around Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, and family reunions. Now, Grassley is 92, by the way, for the record.
Yeah.
He's the oldest senator. "You will see Beth no more," he wrote on social media this weekend, attaching an image that showed Beth's electrical cord connector scarred by sparks. "See black that's from electrical sparks. It's not safe to use anymore. Goodbye, Beth." And then there's a couple of pictures of Beth. There's a shot of the cord, the blackened cord. And I got to tell you something. I could relate, because little Danny Barrero remembers an occasion when he attempted to plug in the vacuum. I'm assuming it was a Hoover. This would have been probably mid-60s. And got the shock of his life. And when I tried to unplug said plug from the wall, it was the socket was blackened, everything was blackened. So I don't know if there was a short, whatever. I'm lucky I wasn't electrocuted, so I could relate to it. But that's a durable vacuum cleaner, is it not?
When I see stories like this,
yeah,
there's not a shot in hell that a vacuum that's leaving a store today is going to be around in 49 years.
No.
It's just not.
No,
they're not. No one's and used dependably.
That's true.
Over and over and over again. We just knew how to make stuff back then.
We did. There's no question. 2 days before Thanksgiving in 2018, Mrs. G and daughter Wendy have started big job of preparing meal for 30 at farm Thanksgiving. So my housework contribution begins. This is my machine. Then it's a picture of Beth, the Hoover vacuum cleaner. And apparently he made these posts pretty much constantly, roaring across a rug as he pushed the vacuum and shuffled behind it. There's an image of him and Senator Shelley Moore Capito, Republican of West Virginia then, holding a cutout image of Beth. Turns out Senator Capito is a big fan of Beth as well. Hoover says that its upright vacuums last, on average, 8 years, and that its cordless vacuums are good for about 5 years on average. Tectonic Industries, which owns Hoover, did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Beth's demise.
A miss. That's a miss by them.
Very much so. A Democratic state rep in Iowa running for the state's other Senate seat wrote Saturday evening on social media, "Sorry for your loss, Senator." Josh Turek, or Turek. Sounds like Beth had a heck of a run. I bet you we got people out there with vacuums that might be just as durable, or similarly so, that again, go back that far.
Yes.
Correct?
So
and they were considerably, my recollection of them back in the day was they might have been durable, but they were incredibly heavy and difficult to turn. And now I think they make them more manageable in that sense now, but they probably last, as you say, about 6 weeks.
You didn't need all the different attachments, or you needed different attachments or different things to get different parts of your house, going under the couch, going around a corner, going underneath an appliance.
That's true.
The Hoover Concept 2 is not doing that, I wouldn't think.
No.
I did quickly. I was just curious.
And they used to have, do they still have headlights on them? Because the ones I remember, there was like a headlight on there. As if, I'm not sure that really was as useful as it appeared, but it had a big headlight. But as you say, the problem was it wasn't very maneuverable.
No.
So even if you saw stuff like under the couch, it was too cumbersome to to slide under.
You had to move the couch.
In any way, you had to move the couch anyway. Yeah.
That was part of the whole process.
Correct.
So the Concept 2, I'm looking at it. I pulled it from the picture. Cost between $200 and $280 when it was introduced. Now, according to AI, the vacuum cleaner that he is talking about was introduced 43 years ago, not 49. So there might be some fake news.
Okay, all right.
But still, it's over 40 years. The Hoover Concept 2, and you could get it from $200 to $280, depending on the specific model tier, and features like power drive or electronic indicators. The Hoover Concept line debuted in the 1970s. About $280. Pretty good.
They don't make them like that. You're right. They really don't.
They just don't.
I think now it's purposeful.
Agree.
Right? Don't you? Because they might be lighter and they may be more versatile, but it's the idea of, you get to use them for about 6 weeks.
They might drive themselves if you've got a Shark or a Roomba, which are nice in theory until they don't work.
I swear to you, we bought a new vacuum cleaner every year and a half.
Yes.
And it was just, it's just gone. It's on the fritz. Can't get it to. And then you say, well, you go to a store to get it fixed, but it'll cost you more than getting another vacuum cleaner.
I've done that a lot. There's one right off Highway 7. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
And the guy is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because he's heard everything. And usually it was me running over the court, doing something stupid. He's like, oh, here comes this idiot again.
It's back again.
It was like the Jimmy Fallon IT guy, SNL sketch. He just can't believe. He's grateful, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what keeps me in business.
I can just see that store so vividly. And we've had to take a number of vacuums into his spot.
There's
right
no
in
question.
St. Louis Park. It's a great spot.
This is, I guess, falls under the classification of a pretty good callback. Is Chuck Grassley related to Willie Nelson? The answer.
He's old enough to have played in the poker game.
That's probably very true. Somebody wanted to know what didn't Bud Grant give me a gift? No. When he had his rummage sale, he made me pay.
Yeah, we had to buy everything.
I got some stuff, but it was none of it was free.
He gave us the gift of an hour-long conversation.
The gift of gab, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Ben Lieber has the gift of gab. He is going to join us next. Please don't go away.
You're listening to Barrero.